The massive screens in the Galactic Council's monitoring station lit up with unusual patterns. Officer Blue, a veteran of Border Patrol for over 20 years, had never seen anything like it. The energy signatures coming from the Sol system were unlike anything in their database. He quickly pressed the alert button, summoning his superiors to the control room. On Earth, High Commander Reed sat in his office at the Space Force headquarters, studying reports about the new stealth system. The experimental warship, Shadow of Terra, had passed all its tests with flying colors. Years of research into dark matter had finally paid off, giving humanity an edge they desperately needed in a galaxy that didn't even know they existed yet. His computer screen suddenly flashed red. "Commander, multiple unknown vessels approaching the Sol system," the AI assistant reported. Reed's heart started beating faster, but he remained calm. This was the moment they had prepared for. "Get me Captain Walker on the line," Reed ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Within seconds, the stern face of James Walker appeared on his screen. The captain of Shadow of Terra looked ready for action. "Sir, we're picking up the same readings," Walker reported. "At least 5 large ships, possibly more behind them. They're moving in a formation that suggests military vessels." Reed nodded. "This is not a drill, Captain. Take Shadow of Terra out and observe. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary. Remember, they don't know about us yet, and that's our advantage." The Shadow of Terra was humanity's masterpiece. Hidden in Earth's orbit, the warship looked unlike anything else in human history. Its dark hull absorbed light rather than reflected it, and its shape seemed to bend the very space around it. But its true power lay in its dark matter camouflage system. Dr. White's team had discovered that dark matter could be manipulated to bend not just light, but all forms of energy around the ship. The result was perfect invisibility, not just to eyes, but to every known form of detection. The alien ships wouldn't see them coming because, according to every law of physics they knew, the Shadow of Terra didn't exist. The crew of Shadow of Terra worked with practiced efficiency as they powered up the ship's systems. In the engine room, engineers monitored the dark matter containment fields. On the bridge, Walker watched as his tactical officer, Lisa Parker, brought the camouflage system online. "Dark matter field stable, sir," Parker reported. "We're ghost." Walker allowed himself a small smile. The term ghost had stuck ever since the first test, when one of the engineers said the ship disappeared like a ghost. It was accurate. They could see out, but nothing could see in. The alien ships were getting closer. Their designs were elegant, with smooth lines and glowing energy patterns across their hulls. They moved with precision that spoke of advanced technology and experienced crews. The largest ship alone was bigger than anything humanity had built in space. "Record everything," Walker ordered. "Every detail about their ships, their movement patterns, their energy signatures. Command will want to know exactly what we're dealing with." Through their sensors, they watched as the alien fleet approached Mars. The ships slowed down, clearly scanning the solar system. Their systematic search patterns suggested they knew someone was here, but weren't sure exactly what they were looking for. "Sir," Parker's voice was tense. "They're scanning Earth. Heavy signals, way more detailed than simple space scans. They know we're here." Walker straightened in his chair. "Move us into position between their fleet and Earth. If they try anything hostile, we'll be ready." The Shadow of Terra glided silently through space, its dark matter field making it as invisible as the void between stars. Even as they passed within kilometers of the alien ships, there was no reaction. No sudden movements, no scanning beams, nothing to suggest the aliens had any idea that humanity's greatest warship was right in their midst. High Commander Reed received continuous updates from the Shadow of Terra. Each report confirmed what they had hoped. Their technology worked perfectly. Humanity's first contact with alien life was about to happen, but not on the aliens' terms. For the first time in history, humans had the advantage in a first contact scenario. The alien ships held position just beyond Mars' orbit. Their next move would determine how this first contact would play out. But whatever they planned, they would soon learn that humanity was far more advanced than they expected. The alien ships moved closer to Earth, their formation shifting into what looked like a standard diplomatic approach. The largest vessel, decorated with glowing blue patterns, took the lead. Captain Walker watched from the bridge of the Shadow of Terra as the aliens prepared to make their first move. "They're broadcasting something," Parker announced, her fingers moving quickly across her control panel. It's every radio frequency we use. They've been studying us for a while, sir." The message came through clear and strong, transmitted in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are representatives of the Galactic Council. We have observed your civilization and determined that you are ready for integration into the greater galactic community." Walker exchanged looks with his crew. The alien's tone was polite, but something felt off. He contacted High Commander Reed immediately. "We're receiving their transmission at headquarters," Reed confirmed. "Our linguistics team says their choice of words suggests they're used to being obeyed. This isn't a greeting. It's a command dressed up as an invitation." The alien message continued. "Please power down your defensive systems and prepare to receive our diplomatic vessel. Resistance is unnecessary. The Council's decision is final." On Earth, governments scrambled to respond. The United Earth Council convened an emergency session, but before they could draft a reply, the alien spoke again. "Your silence is noted." The transmission continued. "We understand this may be overwhelming. To demonstrate our authority, please observe." One of the smaller alien ships fired a bright beam of energy at an empty area of space. The beam created a sphere of swirling colors, like a contained aurora. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "This is a small demonstration of Council technology," the alien voice explained. "Your entire planetary defense system could be disabled with similar ease. We prefer peaceful integration, but we are prepared for all scenarios." Walker gripped his chair's armrests. The Shadow of Terra was less than a kilometer from the alien ship that had fired the demonstration shot. His tactical officer had a full analysis of the weapon's capabilities. "It's impressive, sir," Parker reported quietly, "but our shields could handle it. They're trying to scare us with their weakest weapons." Reed's voice came through on the secure channel. "Captain Walker, maintain your position, but do not engage. Let's see what else they reveal about themselves." The alien ships spread out, forming a loose blockade around Earth. Their message continued, now tinged with impatience. "Your world will be assigned a development sector. Your resources will be managed by Council oversight. Your military will be integrated into Council forces. This is a great honor. Resistance would only delay the inevitable." In the United Earth Council chamber, representatives from all nations watched the transmission with growing anger. Humanity had fought too hard for its unity and independence to simply hand it over to alien bureaucrats. Walker received new orders from Reed. "Move the Shadow of Terra into position behind their command ship. Don't do anything yet. Just be ready." The massive warship glided silently through space, its dark matter field perfectly maintaining their invisibility. They passed so close to the alien vessels that they could see individual markings on their hulls. Still, the alien sensors showed no sign of detecting them. "Their arrogance is their weakness," Reed told Walker through the secure channel. "They think they know everything about us. They think we're primitive because we haven't spread beyond our solar system. Let them think that for now." The alien ultimatum continued. "You have one planetary rotation to signal your acceptance. If you refuse, we will be forced to demonstrate more of our capabilities. Remember, we only want what's best for your species." Walker watched his crew at their stations. They were calm, professional, ready for anything. The aliens might have fancy energy weapons and huge ships, but they had no idea what humanity was capable of. The Shadow of Terra alone could change the course of this first contact. "Sir," Parker called out, "they're powering up their weapons." Low level, probably for another demonstration. Let them play their games, Walker replied. We'll show them our tricks when the time is right. The alien ships hung in Earth's sky like new stars, visible to everyone looking up. But none of them noticed the real threat. Humanity's invisible warship, waiting in their midst like a ghost at a feast. The next few hours would change the galaxy's balance of power forever. Earth's deadline was approaching fast. The alien ships had grown more aggressive in their positioning, moving closer to the planet with each passing hour. They clearly expected humanity to give in to their demands, just as countless other species had done before. High Commander Reed stood in the United Earth Council chamber, looking at the giant screens showing the alien fleet's position. It's time, he announced to the gathered leaders. We've seen enough of their capabilities. Let's show them ours. The shadow of Terra moved silently through space, positioning itself directly behind the alien command ship. Captain Walker studied the alien vessel's engine section through his view screen. All weapons ready, he said quietly. Dark matter field at full strength. Sir, Parker reported from her station. Their shields are minimal. They still think they're just doing a show of force. They don't expect any resistance. Walker nodded. Send the signal to Earth. Operation Ghost is go. Reed's voice came through their secure channel. You have permission to proceed, Captain. Remember, we want to disable, not destroy. Show them what humanity can do. The shadow of Terra's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Using the same dark matter technology that made the ship invisible, they could bypass most known shield systems. Walker gave the order, and the first shot was fired. The alien command ship's engines suddenly went dark. No explosion, no visible beam, nothing to show what had happened. One moment they were running at full power, the next, they were dead in space. Confusion spread through the alien fleet. Their sensors showed nothing. No attack, no enemy ships, no explanation for why their flagship had lost power. They began scanning frantically in all directions. Second target, Walker commanded. Another alien ship lost power, its artificial gravity failing. Through their cameras, the crew of Shadow of Terra could see alien crew members floating inside their vessels, completely caught off guard. The alien ships began firing blindly into space, their energy weapons creating beautiful but useless light shows. None of them came close to hitting the Shadow of Terra. The dark matter field bent their sensor readings and targeting systems, making it impossible to find the human ship. This is Earth's response to your ultimatum. Reed's voice boomed across all frequencies. As you can see, we are not as primitive as you assumed. Your ships have been disabled by technology you thought impossible. We could destroy your entire fleet, but we choose not to. Unlike you, we prefer genuine diplomacy to threats. The remaining alien ships tried to form a defensive circle, but it was useless. One by one, the Shadow of Terra disabled their main systems. No deaths, no explosions, just the quiet humiliation of being defeated by an enemy they couldn't even see. Sir, Parker called out, excitement in her voice. They're trying to send emergency signals to the Galactic Council. Should we block their communications? Walker smiled. No, let them call for help. Let the whole galaxy know what happened here. Inside the alien ships, panic was spreading. Their sensors weren't just failing. They were showing impossible readings. According to their instruments, their ships were being attacked by empty space itself. None of their known laws of physics could explain what was happening. Reed continued his message. We will now demonstrate our ability to restore what we disabled. He nodded to Walker through the video link. Show them we can be merciful. The Shadow of Terra moved through the alien fleet once more. This time, its dark matter field reached out and reactivated the ship systems, one vessel at a time. Power returned, gravity stabilized, but the aliens' confidence was shattered. We are willing to join your Galactic Council, Reed announced, but as equals, not subjects. Your fleet is now free to leave our solar system. Return with diplomats who are ready to negotiate properly. And remember, you never saw our ship because there was nothing to see. The alien ships regrouped slowly, their formation much less proud than before. As they prepared to leave, Captain Walker and his crew watched silently. The shadow of Terra had just changed the balance of power in the galaxy without firing a single destructive shot. Mission accomplished, Walker said to his crew. Let's go home. We'll let them wonder for a while about what else humanity might be hiding. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council erupted in chaos. Representatives from 200 species shouted and argued as the recording from Earth played on the massive screens. They watched in disbelief as their mighty warships were disabled by an invisible force. Admiral Marcus stood at the center of the chamber, his face grim as he waited for the noise to die down. "This is impossible," shouted one of the council members, his scales changing color with agitation. No civilization at Earth's development level could have this technology. Someone must have helped them. Marcus raised his hand for silence. "We have analyzed the data from our ships multiple times. The humans acted alone. They have developed something we thought was impossible, complete mastery over dark matter." The council chamber grew quiet. Dark matter had been a mystery to their scientists for thousands of years. They could detect it, measure it, but never control it. Yet somehow, humans had done the impossible. "Show them the sensor readings again," Marcus ordered. The screens filled with data streams and graphs. Our ships detected nothing. No energy signature, no mass, no heat. According to every instrument we have, there was no ship there at all. But as you can see, something disabled our entire fleet without firing a single destructive shot. New images appeared on the screens, pictures of Earth's cities, their technology, their military forces. "We thought they were primitive because they haven't expanded beyond their solar system," Marcus continued. "We were wrong. They weren't trapped on Earth. They were perfecting technologies we never imagined possible." One of the oldest council members, his white robes marking him as a senior scientist, stepped forward. "Could this be why they developed differently? While we explored outward, they looked inward. While we mastered visible matter, they mastered the invisible." The implications hit the council like a wave. If humans could hide one warship so perfectly, they could hide a fleet. If they could disable ships without destroying them, they could just as easily destroy them. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in a single day. "We have received a message from their leaders," Marcus announced. "They are willing to join the council, but as equals. They demand recognition of their sovereignty and independence. And," he paused, reading from his screen, "they want us to acknowledge that their technological path is as valid as ours." More arguments broke out. Some council members wanted to launch a full-scale attack on Earth, hoping to overwhelm them with numbers. Others wanted to steal their technology through spies and saboteurs. But the wiser members saw the truth. Humanity had outsmarted them all. "Think carefully," Marcus warned. "We don't know how many of these ghost ships they have. We don't know what else they've developed. The humans disabled our ships to show mercy. They chose not to destroy us when they could have. That says something about their character." The council's leader, an ancient being who rarely spoke, finally rose from his seat. The chamber fell silent. "In all our history," he said slowly, "we have never encountered a species that developed along such a different path. Perhaps this is a sign that our council needs new perspectives, new ways of thinking." Security footage from the disabled ships played on the screens. It showed crew members floating helplessly as their artificial gravity failed, yet suffering no injuries. It showed weapons and engines shutting down with surgical precision, but no systems being permanently damaged. The humans had demonstrated not just power, but control. "I suggest we accept their terms," the council leader continued. "Not because we fear them, but because they have shown us that there is still much to learn. Their mastery of dark matter could revolutionize space travel, energy production, even the way we build our civilizations." Admiral Marcus nodded in agreement. "The human ship that defeated our fleet was called Shadow of Terra, a fitting name for a vessel that moves unseen through the darkness. Perhaps it's time we learn to look into the shadows ourselves, instead of fearing them. The council members began to nod slowly. The humans had done more than just defend their independence. They had shown the galaxy that there were still mysteries to solve, technologies to discover, and new paths to explore. The age of assuming that their way was the only way was over. The Galactic Council's main chamber looked very different from what Dr. Anna White had imagined. She stood at the speaker's platform, surrounded by beings from hundreds of worlds, all waiting to hear how humans had achieved the impossible. Behind her, a hologram showed the shadow of Terra's dark matter field in action. 10 years ago, she began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. We discovered something unusual in our particle physics experiments. Dark matter wasn't just passing through normal matter. It was interacting with it in ways your sciences never noticed. The council members leaned forward, their various expressions showing everything from doubt to fascination. Dr. White touched a control panel, and the hologram changed to show subatomic particles dancing in strange patterns. We were isolated, she continued. No alien contact, no galactic trade routes, no outside influence. This forced us to look deeper into problems that others might have overlooked. We had to be creative with what we had. Admiral Marcus interrupted, his voice skeptical. But our scientists have studied dark matter for thousands of years. How did you succeed where they failed? Dr. White smiled. Because we didn't know it was supposed to be impossible. We didn't have thousands of years of scientific papers telling us it couldn't be done. We just saw a puzzle and tried to solve it. She showed them the early experiments, the failed attempts, the breakthrough moments. The council watched as humans, working with far less advanced equipment than they had, discovered something revolutionary simply because they looked at the problem differently. Your ships use anti-gravity technology to move through space, Dr. White explained. We couldn't develop that, so we looked for alternatives. You use energy shields for protection. We couldn't match those either, so we found a way to avoid being hit at all. The senior scientist from the council raised his hand. But the power requirements must be enormous. How do you generate enough energy to maintain the dark matter field? That's the beauty of it, Dr. White replied. We don't fight against nature. We work with it. The dark matter is already there, all around us. We just learned how to persuade it to flow the way we want. It takes less energy than your standard chip engines. The hologram showed the shadow of Terra's systems, carefully edited to protect Earth's secrets while still proving their achievement. The aliens watched as dark matter flowed around the ship like water around a rock in a stream. Your civilizations expanded across the stars, Dr. White continued. You found new resources, new worlds, new ways to solve your problems. We had to look deeper into the one solar system we had. You built bigger ships. We built smarter ones. You made powerful weapons. We found ways to avoid conflict entirely. An older council member spoke up. This changes everything we thought we knew about technological progress. We assumed that all species would develop along similar paths, just at different speeds. Dr. White nodded. That's why isolation can be valuable. Without outside influence, we had to find our own path. The result is technology that looks impossible to you because you never thought to try it. The council chamber buzzed with excited discussion. Some members were already talking about joint research projects, cultural exchanges, new possibilities for peaceful cooperation. Others looked worried, probably thinking about how human technology could change the balance of power. We're not here to dominate or threaten, Dr. White assured them. Earth wants to join the galactic community. We just want to do it as equals, contributing our unique perspectives and abilities. Imagine what we could achieve by working together, combining your experience with our innovation. Admiral Marcus stood up. Doctor, you've given us much to think about. Your people have shown us that there are still wonders to discover in this galaxy. But tell me, what else have humans developed that we might find impossible? Dr. White's smile widened slightly. Admiral, The shadow of Terra is just the beginning. We've had a lot of time to think and experiment. But those are discussions for another day, after we've established trust and mutual respect. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had just begun to understand that humanity wasn't just another emerging civilization to be guided and controlled. They were dealing with equals who had mastered aspects of science they had never even considered possible. Ambassador Thomas Grant stood at the window of his new office in the Galactic Council's diplomatic wing, watching alien ships come and go. Just a month ago, those same ships had tried to intimidate Earth. Now they brought gifts, trade offers, and requests for meetings. It was amazing what one invisible warship could do for diplomatic relations. "Another delegation waiting to see you, sir," his assistant reported. "This time, it's the Mining Guild. They're offering exclusive rights to 3 star systems in exchange for consultation on dark matter detection technology." Grant turned away from the window. The shadow of Terra floated silently in space nearby, visible only because Earth's systems knew where to look. Its presence made every negotiation easier. The aliens couldn't bluff when they knew humans could see through their deceptions. Literally. "Tell them what we told the others," Grant replied. "Earth doesn't want exclusive rights or special privileges. We want fair trade and mutual respect. And our technology isn't for sale, but we're happy to collaborate on new research." The Mining Guild representatives weren't happy with that answer, but they couldn't do much about it. Not with the shadow of Terra watching. The ship had become a symbol, a reminder that humans couldn't be pushed around or tricked. Meanwhile, in the Council's military section, Captain Walker was meeting with alien ship designers. They had requested a joint training exercise, hoping to learn more about human technology. Walker kept his answers polite but vague. "Your ships are impressive," one alien engineer said, showing holographic designs of their latest warships. "But surely you want to build bigger ones. We could help with that. Our shipyards can construct vessels 10 times the size of Shadow of Terra." Walker smiled. "Size isn't everything. Sometimes the strongest player in the game is the one you never see coming." The aliens shifted uncomfortably, remembering how their mighty fleet had been humbled by one invisible ship. Back in the diplomatic wing, Grant was reviewing Earth's latest proposals. Humans would join the Council, but with special provisions. Their military would remain independent. Their technology would stay their own. But they would help establish new rules about first contact with emerging civilizations. "The Council has existed for 10,000 years, an ancient member told him. "We've never made such exceptions before." "Then it's time for some new ideas," Grant replied. "Look what happened when you tried to force Earth to follow your usual rules. Maybe other young civilizations deserve the chance to develop their own way too." The Council chamber was different now. Species that had been ignored for centuries were speaking up, inspired by Earth's example. If humans could develop amazing technology in isolation, what other surprises might be waiting on other worlds? High Commander Reed's voice came through Grant's secure communicator. "The Council's military committee just approved our defense proposal. They've acknowledged Earth's right to maintain an independent fleet. It was a major victory. No other species had this right. All others had to contribute ships to the Council's combined fleet. But after seeing what one human ship could do, no one wanted to risk demanding access to Earth's full military capabilities." "How's the public reaction?" Grant asked, looking at reports from various alien worlds. "Mixed," Reed replied. "Some are scared of us. Others are excited about new possibilities. Most are just relieved we're choosing to be peaceful partners instead of conquerors. The shadow of Terra made them realize we could have been much more aggressive if we wanted to." Grant nodded to himself. Fear wasn't what they wanted, but a little respect went a long way in galactic politics. Earth wasn't just joining the galactic community. They were changing it, making it better, more open to new ideas. "Sir," his assistant called. "The Council's Science Division is requesting human scientists for a joint dark matter research project. They're offering to share all their advanced physics knowledge in exchange." "Tell them yes," Grant replied. That's exactly the kind of cooperation we want. Equal exchange of knowledge, mutual benefits, shared progress. The shadow of Terra drifted past his window again, its dark matter field bending light around it like a curtain of invisible stars. Thanks to one ship that couldn't be seen, humanity had gained something priceless: the right to be themselves in a galaxy it wanted everyone to be the same. 1 year had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. The changes were visible everywhere, from the alien ships peacefully orbiting Earth to the new technologies being shared between species. Captain Walker stood on the observation deck of the Shadow of Terra, watching a group of alien scientists examining their latest joint project, a space station that could hide itself just like his ship. "The dark matter field is stable," Dr. White reported, standing beside him. "The aliens are learning quickly, now that they've stopped telling themselves it's impossible." The massive station flickered and vanished, causing excited chatter among the alien observers. Earth had changed too. Knowledge from hundreds of alien civilizations had helped solve many of humanity's old problems. But unlike other young species, humans hadn't simply copied alien technology. They kept finding new ways to combine their ideas with galactic science, creating things no one had seen before. Message from High Command. Parker called from her communication station. "The Council approved our proposal for the Young Species Protection Act. No more forced integrations. Every new civilization gets to develop their own way." Walker smiled. It was perhaps their biggest victory yet. The law meant no other species would face the ultimatum Earth had received. The galaxy was learning that different paths could lead to amazing discoveries. In the council chambers, Ambassador Grant sat in Earth's newly assigned seat. The positions of power had shifted. Earth wasn't the strongest or richest civilization, but they had become one of the most influential. Other species constantly sought their advice, hoping to learn how humans thought so differently about old problems. "The Sol system has become a center of innovation," one council member announced. "More scientific breakthroughs have been made in the past year than in the previous decade. The human perspective is refreshing." Admiral Marcus, who had once led the fleet against Earth, now worked closely with human military leaders. "We thought we were coming to teach them," he told his staff. "Instead, they taught us that we had stopped learning. We had stopped looking for new answers because we thought we knew everything." The Shadow of Terra was no longer unique. Earth had revealed 5 more ships of its class, each with different capabilities. But they weren't used to threaten. They protected trade routes, helped with scientific research, and rescued ships in distress. Humanity had shown the galaxy a new kind of strength, the power to help rather than dominate. Back on Earth, the United Earth Council was meeting with representatives from 20 alien species. They were discussing a new joint project, teaching young civilizations without interfering with their development, watching them grow, protecting them from threats, but letting them find their own way. "A year ago, we thought humans were primitive because they hadn't spread beyond their solar system," an alien diplomat said. "Now we understand they were growing in a different way. While we expanded outward, they looked deeper. They asked questions we had stopped asking centuries ago." Dr. White's team had started a new research project, working with scientists from across the galaxy. They were exploring other impossible ideas that the Council had dismissed over the centuries. Already, they had made 3 major breakthroughs by simply approaching old problems with fresh eyes. The galaxy was getting stagnant, High Commander Reed told a group of alien military leaders. Everyone followed the same paths, used the same solutions, thought the same way. Sometimes it takes an outsider to show you what you're missing. The Shadow of Terra completed another patrol route, gliding invisibly through space. But now it wasn't alone. Other ships equipped with similar technology accompanied it, their crews a mix of humans and aliens working together. They were learning from each other, growing stronger through cooperation rather than competition. In the Council's historical archives, a new chapter was being written. It told the story of how one invisible ship had changed the galaxy's future, not through force or fear, but by showing that there was always another way, always something new to discover, always room for different ideas. Earth had joined the stars on its own terms, bringing fresh energy to an ancient civilization. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what it needed. As Captain Walker looked out at the hidden space station, he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had shown the galaxy how to see things differently. Now it was time to explore those possibilities together.